Hello, everyone.
Hi, John.
Yes.
Hi,
Yes.
John.
See, this is the fun part about being live at IMTS in the Creators Lounge. We want to interact with you people. We want to say hello, Manufacturing School, fellow robots, competitors here. Yep. Heckling. Is that what we're doing here? Anyway, that is kind of fun. This is what this is about. It's about telling the stories, interacting with people. Right. That's what we are. That was why that was really fun, right?
Yeah. I think in the industry as a whole, and I've got the benefit of hindsight. I've been in the industry a very, very long time. We have more women in the industry now, both in technical and non-technical roles, and that number is growing at a very high rate of speed. And I think it's really critical, right? Because we are struggling to hire enough people in manufacturing anyway, right? And the more attractive we can make it to a broader base of people, the better off our manufacturing community is going to be.
Absolutely. Then that is the kind of the reason behind empowering women too, is because we saw women being the answer to that skills gap, that knowledge gap that we need to solve. And they're not here in mass droves, but we can get them here and they're doing the job on anyway. And so it's making it more attractive and just letting them know that these jobs are out there.
Yes.
Okay, Mette, I don't want to leave you out too much longer. Just go ahead and introduce yourself. I know you're running the show in a lot of ways behind the scenes. Tell us about your company and tell us what you think about this digital marketing world.
Sure. So I run McCall Media. So we do PR and marketing primarily for industrial automation companies. And here at the show, I'm with Universal Robots, and I help facilitate meetings with editors that come to the booth. We show them all of the new fascinating cobot applications that we have, and help write stories about that. And one of the other things I do, which is really a favorite part of my job, is I get to travel all around the US and Canada with a cameraman. And I go into the factories and I tell the stories. What happens when these cobots hit the floor, you deploy them. And I tell the stories of all the benefits that these cobots create. And also sort of face some of the stigma that there sometimes is around cobots, and all of the people that say, oh, well, they steal jobs. And what happens when these cobots come in? Then people are out of work. And
you don't have to carry that heavy equipment all by yourself. That was one of the key things that I saw. We don't. Why in the world would we want to suffer like that?
Yeah.
If a robot or cobot could do that for us.
I know. Yeah. And, I tell you the stories that I sometimes hear. I will have a line operator come up and say, you know what? We used to call them Thelma and Louise because we thought they were going to drive us over a cliff. And then we realized that, all of the work that they help us with now. Now I have people come up and say, where can I put a cobot next? Maybe we can have a cobot do this job. Maybe we can have it tend that machine. Maybe we can have it work first shift, where we can't staff. Who wants to work first shift, taking things in and out of a machine all night long? We can't staff that. The robot doesn't mind.
But
that's right.
That's the transition of that whole manufacturing floor, right? And what we see is really a demographic shift. Baby boomers, of which I am one, are retiring at a really horrendous rate, about 10,000 a day. The COVID crisis exacerbated that, really made it even more difficult. But what we're finding is younger generations, be they Zs or millennials or whatever, look into the factory and what they see are dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs. And they do not want to do that. And they're not, right? They're voting with their feet and they're moving into other sectors. And so one of the jobs that we have, and Mette has been a huge help for UR over the years, is we tell the story about how cobots can improve manufacturing for everybody, not just the shop owner, the operator, but the people on the floor that are actually producing the parts.
Yeah, and I think there's something to that. It's that strategic mind that we need to solve problems. And if we're not doing kind of some of that work that these cobots can do, then we have the space to be able to think strategically and say, how do we want to change our plant? How do we want to make it more efficient? How do we want to, who do we need to bring to the table to actually solve the problem that's out there in the market? So I really love that. I'm curious though, because I went to your booth and I saw, all this big display. It's amazing, like I said. But is that just for big corporations to use? Like who can actually use robots in their production?
Well, that's also part of a big shift in manufacturing, right? Before collaborative robots broke on the market, automation was pretty much limited to larger companies. It was more complex. It required a larger capital outlay. It really needed specialists who could program it and set it up. And with the advent of cobots, we're actually bringing automation to a whole new class of customers. And that's the small and medium enterprise, which is hugely important because about 90% of the manufacturing businesses in the US have less than 100 employees. Right.
Yeah, and probably that transition went a little different, even more so after the pandemic, right? There's a lot of these companies starting. There's a lot of this shifting of the employment as well. And so I think this is fascinating. So if you did want to look at your small to medium size or large corporation that needs these cobots to come in and work, what does that look like? I mean, Jennifer, I'm thinking of you in marketing and that background, that role to kind of get that message out there. But how do you see someone, what's their first step? Like, what do they need to do first?
Well, I think the first step they have to go through is to open their eyes up and recognize that this is a possibility. Right? And many of these companies have investigated automation over the years and determined it was not for them because it was too complex or too expensive or whatever. So the first thing we have to do is get them to open their eyes.
And Jennifer, do you have a plan for that?
Mette's
like, I've got a plan, but yeah.
I think I'm off, actually.
It's okay. Well, Mette, you can talk a little bit about marketing while we figure that out.
Sure. So I think, and that's also where the case studies come in and become so powerful because, we go into a little mom and pop, machine shop in Texas and we show, that, they get the robot in the morning, they're cutting shrink wrap in the morning and they're having production parts running in the afternoon. And that's an incredible, powerful story to tell. And it is not just like a PR fluffy spiel. We're actually out there on the floor with them at this little shop in Texas telling that story. And other people like them that can identify with that see that. They're like, oh, wow, it's not just, a press release where they say it's so easy. Everybody says it's easy.
Well, I'm definitely jealous. Just you telling me that you go to these plants and walk through them with the camera. I'm like, sign me up. Let me go walk with her. That sounds amazing. But I think it's that whole program, right? We talked a lot about the transition of marketing from technical papers and articles to video, which I think you do a lot with video, right? And then social media and this podcasting. I love podcasting, and just because you can say, hey, can you tell me your story?
Yeah.
So how do you see it moving forward?
Oh, we do. I was just going to comment that we do the same with webinars. A lot of our partners and our customers that have had success, they join us as well. And that's a great place for us to draw people in to see the benefits for them.
Yeah, and those webinars, those teaching tools and getting people comfortable sharing their story, kind of who they are and about the products themselves. I'm curious about what you think the next, what do they need to know next? Okay, yes, okay, I'm in, I'm ready to go. I'm going to commit to this. What's that next step after they're saying, okay, I believe in this?
Typically, we love to see customers get their hands on. Right. And if you look at our booth, we actually have live demos from all different applications. We've got cutting and welding and grinding and machine tending and machine loading. But what's really a breakthrough moment is when we put the cobot pendant in the hands of an operator or an engineer who has no experience. And in short order, they can understand how easy it is to master. UR's really pioneered the industry. We have an online training academy. We've trained over 130,000 people around the world in this online academy. And really, in a couple hours, you can master the fundamentals of programming and operating one of our cobots. And that enables people to see the future.
So background wise, if you want to, come and be a part of this industry, what type of background does someone need?
Well, I think any of the engineering disciplines are going to be helpful on the engineering side of the house. I think on the marketing side of the house, we've got a really diverse team. We've got a couple engineers, but most of us are communicators at heart. And, the ability to reach into a different segment and communicate on their terms is really important. What we used to do 25 years ago does not work so well today. Right?
Yeah, especially in marketing. I mean, we have to reach different audiences.
Right.
I felt like you wanted to say something, Jennifer.
Oh, I was going to go back to the training. We actually have training here this week that people can step in for 45 minutes, pick up the pendant, and learn the basics to program a robot if they wanted to check it out, and they can sign up for that in our booth.
That's awesome.
little
Yeah.
plug.
So if you want to go and just play with your own robot, basically let it like perform a task, which I think is
Absolutely.
the number one thing we want to do. Okay, I want to tell you to do this. Now, can they do that? Can this cobot really do this? I think this is amazing to first of all have that platform, right? So IMTS creating this, bringing everybody together. I know that there was a lot of people that said they really missed out for 2020 that wasn't here.
It was a very painful year.
Yeah.
And being able to come together and just see your peers. I loved seeing the people walking by and saying hello to everyone at IMTS. But what does that bring? That human side of things, right? You talk robots all the time, but tell us a little bit about the human side of what you're doing.
I think you can talk in abstract all day long, and we do, right? I mean, we do webinars, we do presentations. I mean, we're pushing every vehicle we possibly can. But I personally think trade shows are incredibly valuable because you do get face-to-face and you do get hands-on, and you can accelerate that transformation so much further and so much faster at an event like this, where it's really difficult if you're going to do it in a series of webinars or review of case studies or anything like that.
Well, I think this is the energy too. When you come to a trade show, everybody's energized and ready to learn.
For the first few days anyway.
Well, yes. Well, it depends on your outdoor activities as well. Like how I say all the time, like the energy for a trade show, you have to monitor that. I was telling, and this is kind of a off moment, but we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our bodies throughout a week like this. So taking breaks, making sure you eat, is definitely drink a lot of water. It's important. And so I'm taking y'all's lunch break, but we do have lunch. You are having lunch after this. But I think that we are humans is what we're trying to say. And we need that energy, that connective collaboration. It's what trade shows bring to life. So I'll kind of give it back to the ladies over here. I'm all about empowering women. I've told y'all that, but I just love storytelling and how you got into it. So I'm a little bit curious on how Mette got into her kind of PR marketing side of things. How did you get into the industry?
It was kind of random. I'm born and raised in Denmark, just like the robots. So that's why I have this weird accent. I haven't been here 20 years, haven't quite lost it yet. And
we love accents around here.
And I had a friend in Denmark who was doing PR for UR in the Nordics. And it's actually interesting because IMTS 2022 actually marks Universal Robots' 10-year anniversary in the US. They actually entered the market at IMTS 2012 when I first did PR for them. So this is a little bit of a nice anniversary for us.
Absolutely. Can we celebrate for them? Everyone celebrate for their anniversary here. It's amazing. I can hear it. Yeah. Wonderful. Yes. Well,
and I did not know anything about robots at that time. I was in Silicon Valley. I was doing high-tech software. I did not know anything about manufacturing industry. It was a completely new world to me. But I thought the whole idea of a cobot, running unguarded without safety next to people working, helping them out with a task they don't want to do was such a good story seen from a journalism perspective. I was like, I got to do this.
Yes. And I think that's part of, getting into the industry. We threw Jennifer in like, come on, jump on the camera today. You just got to the company, but let's go. And I admire you for doing that and jumping in here. But Joseph, tell us a little bit about how you got into the industry.
Well, you have to go way back in the time machine. I actually sold my first robot in 1979.
So can y'all hear that? 1979 robots were there. They're not brand new. Get on board with these robots and cobots.
It's been a long time coming, but I will say that the transition to Universal totally opened up my eyes. I'm having more fun than I've had in years. And I think the reason is we can watch how our technology makes a difference in people's lives, particularly in the small shop, but even in the large shop, right? It enables them to make progress in their manufacturing processes that they couldn't make before. And that hits the bottom line. It hits them on a personal basis, and it helps their career.
Yeah, it makes me think of, when you're with your boss, you're with their managers and everything, and they're like, we need to see improvement. We need to see growth. And you're like, well, here's some innovative idea. Let me plug you into this technology you haven't even tried yet.
Well, one of the things I speak about a lot is connecting the CEO's business problems to automation, right? Because quite often the CEO or the plant manager or the owner, they're struggling with business problems, right? They can't get labor. They're short on floor space. They need to expand their customer base, but they don't know how to connect those problems to automation as a potential solution. And that's something that I really do talk a lot about.
So Thank you. I was just thinking about how I'm a CEO of my own business. It's my 11th year, so we'll celebrate that too.
That's a good celebration.
Yes, but there's those things that would make my life better are automated. There are things that I need done that I know I need done, and it would be really helpful if I had a plan, right? So being able to talk to you about that and being able to know that I have a partner in it, I think is a big opportunity. Now, I'm not making pumps. I'm talking about media. That's our media company, and the Empowering Industry podcast is a lot of fun because I get to talk to other manufacturers, and really just open up what they have to offer. And so it sounds like you have a lot to offer, both for employees that may be interested in your company, but also the products that you create.
Absolutely. And, one of the things we see, the dynamic in an area or a region, is a lot of the small and medium manufacturers know each other, right? And
we all just connect and move around.
They are. They're all kind of connected. They share a lot of ideas, and it's really, really exciting to watch those ideas get hold in a given region and really take off. And we'll see it. We'll see in one manufacturing park, technology park, the first cobot goes in, and 6 months later, the guy down the street buys 2, and 6 months later, the other guy buys a bunch. It just happens that way.
Well, I think that's natural. Humans, they want to see something, that they want to ask their peers about it. They want to make sure that, okay, we're all doing this together. We're moving forward like this. And so I think that's natural. But I also think that it kind of makes me think of representation. So any of the leaders that can really focus on that diversity, equity, inclusion piece, and be a leader in that space, and bring the young professionals together with the baby boomers, like you said, I think that's the people that are really going to excel, because they understand that we're going to innovate together. We're going to bring these ideas together. So that's why empowering women in industry, it was very important for me, and to know that y'all are working on that and moving in that direction because of the need that's out there to bring women into our industry is really important to me. So thank you again for sharing that with me. Anything last words there that you want to say? Yeah. Okay. I'm okay. She's tapped out. Well, I wanted to say thank you because I told y'all I was new to IMTS. This is my first one. I've been to hundreds of trade shows, but to be able to see the magnitude of your booth and all of the different robots, cobots, and then know that y'all are also looking at the human side of things and how are we going to build our workforce and educate our workforce. That was really inspiring to me. So I do. I could talk about Empowering Industry podcast. I can talk about empowering women in industry. I can talk about empowering pumps. But today we're talking about universal robots.
I'll make one more offer to your listeners. Right, this is something that we love to do. If you're an engineer or anybody in our industry, and you happen to be at IMTS with one of your children, boy or girl, bring them to the Universal Robots booth, and we will have them programming our cobot in a matter of 10 minutes or less. And there's nothing to me more exciting than watching somebody's eyes light up when they realize this is technology they can master quickly. And so that's an open invitation to anybody who's here with their kid.
Yes.
And I think in terms of talent attraction, that is also really the key. How do we get the younger generation excited about going into manufacturing? That's what everybody's talking about. Everybody's scratching their head trying to figure out how do we lure in this younger generation. So I was out at a sheet metal manufacturer in Ohio, and they say, well, we don't want to be known for making, metal parts. We want to be a technology company that just happens to also make metal parts. And they do that by bringing in robots. And they say, we really see a sparkle in people's eyes when they discover that we have robots on the team. They want to come work here. So it becomes a gigantic talent acquisition tool for companies as well.
Well, I'm excited about that. I think it's great for kids. I think it's great for women to go over there and prove themselves that they can do the job too.
Come on down.
And so everyone else, men, women, if you're here in IMTS Plus Creators Lounge, come by and see us. We're happy, so happy that you're here today. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thanks again.
What a manufacturing story, y'all.
Thank you so much.
Appreciated. Take care.